Okay, so first of all, I'd like to shout out to my friend Andreas, my YouTube friend, who was kind enough to send me a microphone when he heard that I was working on a documentary and another film. He sent me a microphone that he wasn't using, and I'm using it here for the first time, so I'll link him in the description. You should definitely follow him. He's an incredible YouTuber. He puts out incredibly meaningful and informative information, and so thank you, Andreas. And so anyway, I want to tell a story today. Today is the anniversary of my mother's passing. My adoptive mother, the mom who raised me. And I wanted to tell a story about her and honor her today, while also talking about darkness. Not that my mother was a dark personality. She was actually like a bright light. She was always optimistic. I literally never saw her depressed, ever, in my whole life. I mean, I certainly saw her angry, but I never saw her get depressed. So darkness is not about her, and she was such a bright light that I actually thought she was shallow and kind of not really smart. When I was a kid, I was like, who's happy all the time? Just didn't make sense to me. So anyway, that's what this story is going to be about. But I'm honoring her today, but I'm also going to talk about darkness and actually, again, I'm not really a tech person when it comes to filmmaking or any kind of art. I just try to use these tools to tell stories, but I am going to show some pictures along the way of me shooting myself in dark environments where I had no lighting at all, just to show that these cameras are pretty amazing when it comes to low light. And I mostly used my 35mm f1.8 and my 23mm f1.4 with my Sony a6400. So anyway, you'll see that along the way. So here's a story. So I was raised in New York, and I was raised in a Jewish family. Now, we were not religious at all, nothing. I don't know how to speak Hebrew. I get confused whether it's Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur. I don't know what time of year it is. I'm like the worst Jew in the world. And actually, in my first play, I included this holy prayer that is said when somebody dies in a synagogue. And a rabbi actually came to my show, and afterwards he said, "Oh my God, the show is so beautiful. I was so moved by it, but I got to be honest with you, you kind of fucked up the Kaddish." And he goes, "I can help you fix it." And my director was like, No, it's perfect. He's the worst Jew in the world. It's funny. We're leaving it." So that gives you an example of how much religion I've had in my life. Like I am not the religious guy. I'm a very spiritual person, but I have no formal religion in my life. But I am, I guess, culturally Jewish, like a New York Jew, whatever that means. Anyway, I was raised in a Jewish family. So when I was 13, my parents wanted me to have a bar mitzvah. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's like I guess it symbolizes when a Jewish boy becomes a man at 13. But really what it is, you have a big party and all this stuff happens and people give you gifts and it's a whole thing. And I didn't want any part of it. I thought it was hypocritical. I thought it was ridiculous. I was embarrassed by it. I didn't want it, but it was important to my parents, so we had it. So I'm not going to talk about that whole party thing, but the story is about how my mother's, I would say, one of her two best friends did not show up that day. Now, this was a big deal to my parents. Not a big deal to me, but a big deal to my parents. And my mother's bestie, like her best friend, or one of two, didn't come. And I guess she didn't send a gift either, which is kind of customary that, whether you come or not, you send some kind of gift or you give money or whatever. So anyway, my mother was so hurt by this that she stopped talking to her best friend, like forever, like for the rest of their lives. 30, 40 years went by. So fast forward many years later, okay? after I spent all of these years abusing my mother. I was like, what are you, ridiculous? Like, what are you, stupid? You're not talking to your best friend because she didn't come to my stupid bar mitzvah, which was like the most hypocritical event in the history of the world anyway. I mean, it's like ridiculous. Like, what are you, that petty? Like, she didn't send a gift? You know, what are you, materialistic like that? Like, come on. I was so disgusted with this. And I just hammered my mother for years and years, as did some other people. So anyway, fast forward many years, my mother's dying. And I'm talking to her, and I'm saying and so she's actually staying in my house at this time, and trying to get her better, she had gone through some surgery, she had gone through some illness, she had a lot of things wrong with her. And during this time, I found out that this friend of hers who didn't show up at my bar mitzvah was dying of cancer. So I was like, yo, Mom, you gotta go see her, like, she's dying. I mean, it's ridiculous, she was your best friend for the majority of your life. Like, you have to go see her, she's gonna die. So finally my mother relented and she was like, okay, let's go see her. So I brought her over to Westchester, and they got together, and it was a big, beautiful reunion and lots of tears and all this stuff, and they had a beautiful time. And they actually kind of struck up a new friendship after that, and then her friend died a couple of months later. And so I was talking to my mother about it, and I was like, don't you feel stupid? Like, don't you feel regretful or sad that you wasted all those years over some petty, ridiculous party that I didn't even want to have, that wasn't important to me, the person that the party was for? I mean, it was just ridiculous. Like, don't you feel like some kind of vapid? And my mother's like, stop. And the thing is, my mother let me do this to her for years. Like, she never stopped me, she never said a word, she never explained anything, nothing. So finally she looks at me and she goes, look. And whenever my mother was about to say something important, she always started with look. She said, it's not that she didn't come, and it's not that she didn't send a gift. Neither of those things really mattered to me. What mattered to me is that she didn't even acknowledge it. It was as if it didn't even matter to her, like it wasn't important. And the thing was that all the other children in the family, when they had sweet 16s or bar mitzvahs or bas mitzvahs or weddings or whatever, whenever there was an event for another kid, this woman always made a big deal about it. And nobody was going to treat you like an adopted child. And I was like, whoa. I was like, that's why you didn't? She goes, exactly. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like, I've been abusing you for like 40 years. Like, why don't you explain this? Like, everybody's been like hammering you for all this time. Like, why don't you say something? And she's like, I didn't need your approval. And I was like, wow. Like, this woman who I thought was like the most shallow, dumbest, like, I had all these horrible, judgmental feelings about my mother who raised me. Turns out this woman who I thought was the, less than smartest person was the deepest person that I had ever known. And she protected me like I was her own, which I kind of was, even though she didn't birth me, she was not going to let somebody treat me differently. And frankly, I was treated differently by a lot of people. And my mother knew that. And so, yeah, today's the anniversary of her passing. She passed more years than I can believe now. It's been a long time. And so I just wanted to honor her today in this video and tell her I miss her. Tell her I miss her. You know what I mean. She was a pretty amazing woman. And so I'm really happy that I just finished a movie called The Center of Distance, which really kind of shows my relationship with my parents who raised me and the complexity of when I found out all this information about the woman who birthed me. And it's a really kind of interesting journey as to what happened to me when I got all this truth and how it replaced all this information that I kind of had created in my own head, because I didn't know anything. Because if you're adopted, you're not allowed to know anything, like by law, you know. So I can only speak for myself, but I think I probably speak for many, many adoptees in saying that we create stories in our own head because we have no choice. We have to, you know. And then if you imagine getting information that is completely different than what you thought for your whole life, you know, you get this information when you're grown, and all of a sudden everything that you thought was true was just bullshit, and now you know this truth. Anyway, so I'm very grateful that I got to make this film. You know, I'm grateful that I am an artist where I can explore these kind of feelings in my work and then share it with people, and you know, hopefully it makes some kind of contribution to other people as well in sharing it. I believe in that. And so today is for my mom, the one who raised me, or who tried to raise me, because I was certainly not an easy kid. And I have a lot of regrets about that. But also I know that we all just did the best we could, and she certainly did her best, and she did, I think, a great job. And hers was a life well lived, for sure. And the other thing is that my mother always encouraged me to do your thing, she would say. You know, just like, do what you want to do, you know, explore, take risks, take chances, you know, go out there and try. And that's what I did with this film. You know, I'm a theater artist. I didn't know anything about filmmaking. And when the pandemic hit and all my theater work got canceled, I had the audacity to think that I could make a movie with my phone. And I think that I get a lot of that kind of courage, I'll call it. Unrealistic, you know, feelings of wanting to just give anything a shot, you know, like I don't ever think that I'm going to fail. I just think that I'm going to try, and it is going to be what it's going to be. I think I get a lot of that from my mother, who raised me. And so this is for her today, and that's it. So, yeah. So darkness. Today's a dark day. I've experienced a tremendous amount of loss in my life. And I think the darkness in our lives can, if we choose to, bring out a lot of light, you know, a lot of ebullient expression that we can share with other people and create a community. And I think that's probably, you know, it sounds funny coming from somebody like me who's definitely a loner, and anybody who knows me will tell you I'm definitely a loner. But I also, at the same time, think that probably the most important thing in our existence as a human race is community. You know, a sense of community, of working together, of being together, of coexisting. I think that's so important. I think that's everything with regards to the environment, socially, politically, like everything. I think community is everything. And so I think exploring your darkness and then sharing it can really enhance your sense of community, because you'd be surprised how many people are going through similar things to what you're going through. So that's all I'm going to say for today. Darkness is just a part of life. Life is beautiful, and I look at it all as beautiful. I think I look at it as having the opportunity to turn everything into beautiful art, and hopefully that's what I do. That's certainly my intention all the time. And that's it. So thank you for watching and helping me to honor my mom today, who passed many years ago. I hope you're having a beautiful day. I hope you're well. I hope everybody you love is well. And if not, my heart is yours. And that's it. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.